Okay, I need to make a disclaimer for the video before I show it to you. On the video, I say a lot to bring the end of the shrug to the pin that we marked, and it's actually not the end of the shrug that we're bringing to the pin that we marked. It's actually the side of the fabric that we're bringing to the pin that we marked. Not the end, but the side. The selvage is the side of the shrug, not the bottom of the shrug. You will understand more of what I'm talking about when we get to the actual video. Okay, that's it. Now let's go on to the video. On today's episode of Tasha's Sewing Tutorials, we will be making this shrug. Okay, for this shrug, we're going to be using a stretchy type fabric. This is, I want to say, has 25% stretch to it. And this is a 45 inch width fabric. And we're going to be working with the width. This is a half of a yard. And what I'm going to do is fold from one selvage to the next selvage with the inside, the pretty side in, and that's what this is now. And the first thing we're going to do to make the shrug is we're going to find the center of the fabric, which is here, and I'm going to put a pin in it to mark the center like this. And the next thing we're going to do is, oh, I forgot to tell you that I measured from one side of my neck to the other side of my neck, and that is 8 inches. So what we want to do, we're going to make this an equal measurement. So I'm going to measure 4 inches away from the center and put a pin there. And the reason why we're doing this is because this is marking the width of the neck. I'm going to put a pin there. And I'm also going to put a pin on the other side at the same time, so that way we won't have to measure when we go on the other side. The width of my neck was 8 inches, so that's why I did 4 inches there. Then from here, we're going to go all the way over here. This is where, can you see that on the camera? Yeah. This, now you can. This is where the sleeve, the armhole is going to be. And your armhole, where it's going to be located in the arm, depends on how wide your fabric is to begin with. I'm using 45 inch width fabric, and this made me have a sleeve that was just below my shoulder. Just below my elbow. Now if I were to use a 54 inch or a 60 inch width fabric, this sleeve would probably come down to my wrist. But seeing as this sleeve comes to just below my elbow, I measured around my arm right here, and that measurement, I have really skinny arms, guys, that measurement was 9 inches. But I want to have some space to move around, so I'm going to measure 9.5 inches for my armhole. So I'm starting here, measuring down to 9.5 inches, and I'm going to put a pin right there. And I'm going to put a pin on the other side as well for the same distance, 9.5 inches. So that way I don't have to measure when I get to the other side. And the next thing we're going to do is so simple, you're not even going to believe it. You're going to take the end right here of your fabric, which is the top, and you're going to meet it right here where we put the pin for our armhole. And you're going to actually have to turn this over to the pretty side in order to do this. So you want your pins to be marked on the inside, so you're going to have to turn this over to the pretty side and yeah, mark it. So where is my mark? So you're going to go just like this. Take this end right here and mark it like this. But you're going to turn your fabric this way. You see how I did that? I have this end, which is the top of the shrug, and this end, which is where we want our armhole to meet at. And we're going to put it together. We're going to turn this sideways like that, put it together, and mark it. And now all you're going to do, I'm going to turn it this way so you guys can see better. All we're going to do is take the selvage end and mark it to the top of the shrug. You see what I'm doing? This is the top edge of the shrug. This is the bottom of the shrug, and we're bringing it together just like this. And we're going to do that all the way until we meet where our pin right here for the side of where my neck is meets the end of the fabric, just like that. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, before you start doing this project, what you're going to want to do is finish off both of the raw ends of your fabric. So we're going to pin this up. We're going to finish the raw ends of our fabric however way you want to do it. If you want to use a serger, you can use a serger. If you don't have a serger, you can use the zigzag stitch. And finish that off first, because the raw edge is going to be exposed for your neck hole. And you don't want to have that raw and unravel. If your fabric is not going to unravel, it's fine. And when you finish pinning all this together, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sew this in from one pin right here all the way down to the pin right here, and your shrug is complete. It's that simple. So I'm going to go ahead, and because I didn't finish the raw edges on this, even though this won't unravel, I think I'm going to go ahead. At first I wasn't going to finish the raw edge because I kind of thought I liked the look, but I changed my mind. I'm going to go ahead and finish the raw edges. I'm going to sew this end, match this side up on the other end. Actually, I'm going to match that up first. Just like this. I'm going to show you again. You take the end here, you match it up to the pin that you marked for your armhole. You're going to turn your fabric. Instead of doing it like this, you're going to turn it like this, so it would be easier for you to bring the bottom to the top. And you have this, and you pin the selvage end down like that. Remember, we're working with the selvage end being on the sides, and the cut end will be your top and your bottom, if that is the way your stretch goes. You want the stretch to go across your body. This particular fabric, it happens to be a 4-way stretch, so it really doesn't matter. So what I want to do is go with the width across. And when I sew that up, you're going to see that the seam grows a little bit across your body, makes it a little bit different looking, and you can see the shrug already as it is. This is the sleeve. This is the armhole right here. This is the neck hole. And this is the bottom of the shrug. You could easily make this shrug in 10 minutes from cut. Really, you don't have anything to cut because it's actually just a rectangle. So from the time you pull out your fabric, pin it up and sew it up, you could be done in 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the ends, sew up the sleeves, and then I'll be... Okay, Maris, look at the camera. Okay, we're done with the shrug. This is my daughter, Maris. She's 15, and she's really shy when it comes to the camera. She really does not want to do this for me because she's so shy when it comes to the camera, but she's doing it because she loves me. Here's a shrug. You know you love me, Maris. There we go. You're smiling now. Okay, now this is the shrug. Turn around to the back, please. This is how it looks in the back. Turn around to, oh no, don't turn around, leave it, stay like that. Stick your arm out. You see the sleeve right there? That is what it looks like when with the selvage that we use for the trim. I just used the selvage, that's why I didn't cut that off. And you can see that the sleeve is not very long because I used a 45-inch wide fabric, and we went with the width going across the body. If I had went with a 60, 50, or a 54-inch fabric, the sleeve would come all the way down to her wrist. Okay. Also, let's look at the collar. Can you put your hair over to the side? Your braids are coming down. This is the collar. It actually makes itself. When you sew it together, turn around to the front. When you sew it together right here, you have this, turn around to the back. You have all of this, keep turning. All of this, turn some more, that is left behind the seam. And it makes a self collar. You see how that goes? You can either fold it down like this, and that gives it one look. Can you fold that down for me? My hand, it's trying to do this with one hand, is not working right. And turn to the front so they can see it with the collar folded down. Right there. And then now with the collar folded back up, fold the collar back up. Gives it a totally different look. See that? And this is, put your arm out again. This kind of sleeve is called a kimono sleeve. This is not the only way to do this, but this is a way that I found to make this kind of sleeve that was really, really simple. And this is the seam that we made. And this, put your other arm out. This is the other seam. So this entire shrug was made in 2 seams. And I don't have proper buttons, but we have a pin right here, and this is where I would put a closure from here to here, or let's take the pins out. You can put it 2 buttons right there and right there, or you can wear it with no buttons at all. Completely different look. So there you go, there's a shrug, and as usual, say it with me, Maris, happy sewing. You know you love me. Why did you walk away? You have to work the thing. You know. Why are you waiting over there? How are you gonna stop the video from recording? You waiting over there eating pickles out the jar.